Wholeness and balanced vibrations, family. I trust you're well vibing in resonance at top speeds. I'm your brother Curtis Aru, reflection of you, coming to you once again to bring forth the support of the wholeness and the gift for you in the present moment that I ask that you please take a moment to receive. Relax your shoulders, drop some of those bags that are floating in the consciousness and the mind from previously to right now. Let's be here right now. If you got a pen, pencil, anything, grab some notes if you can. If you see something that's valuable that you hear, please tell a friend, share the video. Today we talking about a place that all of us began, but some of us had different starts. For me, myself, I was abandoned at birth, which may be shocking to hear for many. And I brought a friend on this journey who actually feels what I'm saying on the multiple spectrums. My brother here, Teray Ali, is gonna come through and bring it home. Literally. Bring us home. Talk about the waters a bit and how the distortions of language have binded us in a number of positions that we didn't know we were even in. But anyway, the way to sovereignty is unbinding oneself, becoming free, letting go some of those bags and attachments and contracts, and realizing where you are, who you are, and which direction you need to be going. So I was abandoned at birth on July 30th, 1989. My mother held me for about 7 months for my first kick. Well, I tried to come a bit early, premature. And then I went in for a bit longer. Came out on July 30th, premature still, but strong enough to flow. And as soon as I came from her canal, her womb, her waters, call it Mary time, because I didn't know what time it was when they didn't give me a name. This name was docked. As I arrived, they said I was birthed. It wasn't B-I-R-T-H, it was B-E-R-T-H. And thus the saga continues as my parents signed as custodians and signed me over to the state and gave me a receipt number. Coming with a social security number, they said. And on the back of this thing, they had something else that I had no idea would follow me until the end of this journey. But as I became aware, more mature, started becoming of age, I was made aware of this journey. And if my mother's listening right now, I'm going to stop right there and say, Mom, we talking about trust right now. So I know you ain't abandoned me. But just put that with you right there. Don't start getting too sorry. Sorry for the family. Everything is well. But on paper, on documents, we're going to dive a little bit more into trust. And find these correlations that have many of us binded within the system, the fake matrix, the fake womb, because we know the matrix is a womb. And we know the system has usurped the mother in so many ways. You know, in some dogmas they call her the Holy Ghost. In others, they call her Divine Mother. But we know which womb we present from, and we know where our inheritance comes from. And I'm introducing my brother Teray Ali, coming from DC where the go goes high. And my brother is going to be sharing some knowledge with us as we flow, talking about how much of the world has been abandoned at birth. I'm going to let him do what he does best and speak, brother. Wholeness.
Wholeness, peace, and salutations, family. This great introduction from the brother Haru. I'm really excited about tonight's podcast. I will be able to deliver and gift to you some good information as a steward and having dominion, of course, upon the earth, but foremost being a steward of the Most High. And whoever you want that Most High to be, I don't care if it's Allah, Buddha, Krishna, or whomever, you know. We were all given this position as stewards to make sure that we follow the principles that was those instructions, right, that was given to us from the Most High Creator. And some of those instructions I'm sure most of you are very familiar with already, just living through normal life. For example, for children, respect your parents, you know, honor your mother and your father. For parents, there's many things for you as well, you know. Don't push your child to anger. When we have these type of instructions, these are called indentures. But before I get into that, like the brother stated, we all have been abandoned at birth. Most of us, 90% of us, I'm willing to say 95% of us have been abandoned at birth. Now, don't go crazy, because you probably said, well, I know who my mom is. Well, so do I. I do. I know who my father is as well. And I'm not using that as to say that if you don't, you're less of. I'm just basically about to break down what I mean in regards to being abandoned in this womb or this matrix of being Neo, fighting these agents, trying to make sense of this world. And as he stated as well, we've been put in a spell, in bondage with these words, with these spells of spellings of words, and these curse, that way it has cursed us in cursive. And you, I'm sure most of you on this channel or on this podcast who follow the brother are very aware of the metaphysics and how it ties in. That, you know, they literally are capturing your soul on paper. You know, it may not mean much to a lot of you because a lot of us already feel free spiritually, but this is the form of witchcraft that operates at the highest government levels and ecclesiastical levels, far as from the Pope all the way down to your president. And of course, some of the peons may not know about this. When I mean peons, I mean lower level officials in government, so on and so forth. So at times you might find yourself educating someone who you may thought should know this information, but really don't know. So just be very careful about that. But I'm ready to get this show on the road. We're gonna get this thing started, and we're gonna give you some good information that you can actually apply. We're not here just to run our mouths. This gift I'm giving to you will be something that you can go and research for yourself with some resources that I may be able to reference you to at the end. And, you know, really start using this stuff. This is no sovereign citizen information. I only educate. I inform. Sovereign citizen is an oxymoron. You can't be a sovereign and a citizen at the same time, because a citizen is a subject to whatever entity they're subject to or whatever citizenship they have. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into it, and we're gonna rock out. We're gonna give you guys some good juice. So when you're done with us today or tonight, actually we'll have some more. As you know, this is a chronicle, so this is gonna be a series. So we're gonna have more and more podcasts about this information to where, you know, we can start really getting some true freedom. So I'm gonna digress and I'll let Brother Haru take over, and we're gonna go from there, ladies and gentlemen.
Wholeness, appreciate you, brother. All right, so as we about to dive in, trust you have some things to take down, some information, but we're gonna give it a brief moment as you take the time to subscribe, hit that like button, and this thing off properly and with the honoring from my ancestors from before, here now, and here then. May our words be anchors in the awareness and activate the memory. Because this is knowledge that you already are somewhat aware of. You have to bring it to the forefronts of your consciousness. And it's, remember, it's not wisdom until you put it into action. So these gifts, this time that we're sharing with you, is valuable. So please take our gifts as serious as the star itself and receive the light. And if you got any questions, please reach out to me directly in the DM, in the comments. And my brother will share some of his information at the end. So stay tuned. And ancestors, may you walk with us as we know you already have. May you aid in the subconscious bringing forth of the wisdom and the energy needed to bring this thing home. As we know, as we get closer to source, we're stronger. As we realize there's no separation, there's just a simple dialing in that will aid us into making that connection. So thank you all for being present with us, and we'll keep flowing. The series is I Was Abandoned at Birth. Your birth certificate, your social security card, and your certificate of live birth if you have it. These things will allow you to begin to secure your assets, your estates, protect your family, your children, and so much more. So let's dive in. Supreme brother from another mother. Has been, man, a couple years now since we've been, making a connection and building our relationship.
Yes.
And so I introduced my brother with full confidence of a trusted, mindful man, and it's how you're supposed to do it. And because it's a way that something that will happen sometime within, I'll say the conscious community, because that's our community. Or when you introduce somebody, you don't just introduce anybody to your family, to your children. You introduce people that you seen the light and you feel you support. And that's what I'm just leave it at that for my brother. My brother, we've been helped me out of many binds, literally and figuratively, from the docks to simple work around the house. So this is his family here. So we're introducing you to the real brother. Torre Ali is a dear friend, and when we're talking about securing your assets, first process we took was getting those, recognizing those documents, having those documents. Right. And once you have those, they go through a certain process, because those documents, again, as you have been given by your parents or your guardian, they signed these documents that they didn't necessarily have full awareness of what they were for. And these documents then go to another department. Mm-hmm. And then go to somebody else who is a head of the department. Mm-hmm. And it goes to the state, and it goes through all these number of things. So in order to find your way back home, you have to realize where you've been. Even though where you've been is not necessarily you spiritually or physically. This is you on paper, and they call that the straw man. So you have to gather where you've been, or who's been, let's say, operating on your behalf.
Yes.
So I'm gonna kick it to my bro and begin to walk you through these processes, and we're gonna flow. Not too long. We're gonna flow.
Thanks again, man. Thanks again. Like the brother said, my name is Minister Torre Ali. I've been doing this not long, honestly. I tell a lot of people it's not about how much time you have in the game per se. It's about how much application you have. Mm-hmm. Because you can study books for 6 years and done nothing at all. You're just a walking book, right, with no application. What's a math book if you can't take a test? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I've only been doing it for like 6 years. Since I was 24, I've been studying the law, estates, we're going on 7, trust and what have you. And upon my journey, I came across information that we were bamboozled at birth, hoodwinked at its finest level. Finest level. It was a movie that just came out. I think it's called. It's made by Jordan Peele, and they had the evil twins. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay. So that is a great example of what exactly was going on, because they created a doppelganger out of you upon your birth. And you're saying, well, a doppelganger is, you know, it's like an evil twin, right? And I think Brother Haru is going to pull that movie up for us so I can get everybody an idea what movie I'm talking about. But it's I forgot the actor's name. She played off of Black Panther. Lupita. Yes.
Nyong'o.
Yeah, Nyong'o. Did I say it right?
Yeah, Nyong'o.
Nyong'o. I like that. And basically, if you watch the movie, they got these evil twins. Now, the reason why I call it a doppelganger or evil twin, because this other you has put you in bondage. It has made you a slave to the system. So it is causing harm. You may not physically be in cuffs or chains. You know what I'm saying? You may not be on the outside on a cotton field somewhere, but somebody owns you. And if I own you, I own everything about you. Your name, right? Your labor. The funds and profits that produced from your labor, right? So this is what they're doing, all right? So you got the birth certificate, which is a derivative of the certificate of live birth. The certificate of live birth is the first instrument created in your favor, honestly, upon your forthcoming out of your mother's womb. Now, let's talk about this birth process and why were you abandoned at birth. All right, so when your mother's pregnant, she's 9 months. It's time for her to go into labor. Let's look at that. Let's look at the financial dictionary, or what is labor, you know?
What is labor?
And then while she's in labor or going through labor, she is admitted or registered. So when you register someone, you're enrolling me. You're filing it. You're taking a priority title. Because if I go register your car in my name, I have priority ownership. I registered it first. Or better yet, if I found something and no one claimed it and I registered it, it's mine now. It's like a dog. I find a dog named Spot and I can't find his owner. I can rename that dog from Spot to Clover or Roscoe. Right? Okay. So she's 9 months. She's in labor. And she is going into delivery.
Delivery.
Do tell. What is delivery? Now, if to the average person, delivery sounds so basic of an English language or any other word, right? But we all know words can have multiple meanings. There's multiple meanings of two. Read, read. Right?
Right.
Okay. So with delivery, well, you know, Teray, they're delivering a baby. Delivering a child. Right? Well, what's a child? You know? If you want to pronounce child correctly in its proper pronunciation, it's killed. CH doesn't pronounce the sh. It's k. Killed. That's the real pronunciation of that word. It's not child. That's English perversion of languages. But she's in a delivery. She's going to delivery in the maternity ward. Okay. Now, we just told you she's in labor. She has to go to the hospital, which is a government entity or a private organization, right? She goes to the hospital. She gets admitted and enrolled. She registers in their system. Now, they have priority title, priority right, because now you enrolled yourself in their system. From that point, She's in the maternity ward. Once she from registration to delivery, maternity ward, right? What is a ward? Right? She's this is you guys have to understand, this information is not going to be flat on its face in your face. These people talk with a forked tongue, speak with a forked tongue. All this information, you have to have a spiritual eye to see this. This is a spiritual thing. This is not just a physical thing. Yes, it's on paper, but it's a spiritual battle. It's magic. Okay? So you're going to have to see between these lines. But let me give you a hint. I'm not going to give you the hint. I'm going to give you the hint a little bit after what I'm about to say here. So she's in a maternity ward and she delivers you. You're coming out of a canal of water. You were in water. Right? And when you come out of the canal, they cut the cord from her navel. Now we're still talking about water. Navy. Maritime. Okay? Laws of the sea. This is why they call it a berth. Right? Because ships are berthed. Men are born. Okay? I wasn't birthed. Okay? Now, when she came out of that womb, when you came out of that womb and you are you're connected to this placenta. Right? This placenta has a heartbeat. It's steady beating. There's a law that says anything with a heartbeat is considered alive. Once you cut that placenta, the placentas stop beating. Right? You can't say, oh, it's beating because of you. Yeah, you can, but it's not attached to your heart. What is attached to your navel? Right? So, if this placenta is attached to you and the mom, it has a heartbeat. When you cut it, it dies. The heart stops beating. Remember, anything with a heartbeat is considered alive. This is the trickery now. Okay? This is the trickery stuff. So, it's something called, they are prohibited, meaning they cannot create a death certificate for a child that's born a stillborn. Think about it. I'm gonna let that sink in. If I cannot create a death certificate, even if the child was born unresponsive, they have to still give it a birth certificate. What does that tell you? Does that tell you that the birth certificate can be used as a substitute for a death certificate? Think about that. Think about that for a second. If you're prohibited from giving me a death certificate for a child who just passed out of my lady's womb, for example, and I wish this on no one, of course, let that record show. I do not. Because that's sensitive. They can't create a death certificate because of the sensitive nature of it as well. Just imagine being in labor and you get a death certificate for your child. Right. You know how traumatizing that's going to be? Distraught. Right? Yeah. So I guess you can call it the right thing to do. But this is how they're using manipulation. Because if you could only give a birth certificate if a child was born a stillborn, that birth certificate can be used as a death certificate and be probated. Did I say too much? Right? Yeah, bro. So when that entity is created, it's called the certificate of live birth. That is your foreign situs trust. It's of your likeness and of your image. And let me tell you something about that certificate. It's like a warehouse receipt. it has the description of the property, the name, or the supposed name, because let me get this straight. A registration of birth, ladies and gentlemen, does not give you a name. We're going to save that more in detail in another episode. But although you have a name on the birth certificate, that doesn't give you a name. They only put the name on the birth certificate as a mere convenience just to complete a registration of birth. It doesn't give you a name at all. Because in this country, and I'm going to say in this country because we're talking about the American construct, the United States system. I understand we have Moors, indigenous tribal brothers and sisters out there, may see things a little different. But from my studies, I've learned this is chess, not checkers. We are on their playing field. So we have to follow some of their rules. We don't have an army to change that at the moment. Okay, well, we the people are the army. Play the game and be good at it. Okay, now when you are given a certificate of live birth, it's a warehouse receipt. It has your name, size of you, height, measurements, right? Who delivered it? The doctor, right? A witness, time, the date. And then it says it was registered. Well, let me know if I'm incorrect, but you cannot register a human being. Now you can a person. Person. A person, by definition, is not the same as a human or Homo sapien. These are two different things. We have some law dictionaries such as Institute of American Law by John Bouvier, even the Oxford Dictionary in the 1800s. And I go back that far because you have to go to the root, not the fruit. You get the fruit after you see what type of fruit it's planting when you look at the roots and you study the plant. Now you can reap the benefits of the fruit because now you know how to cook it, how to eat it, what not to eat. If you take the fruit off the tree not knowing, you just took a poisonous fruit without knowing, and there you go. Right. You're behind the pokey. So this entity, the certificate of live birth, describes everything about you. It's a warehouse receipt, okay? It's registered in a county court, right? And a registrar, by the definition of the 1800s, is probate court. So if you have anything filed at the registrar's office, that is a probative matter, whether you know it or not, whether you want it to be true or not. It's probative. So what are they probating? All right. Now, this person is that foreign situs trust. Certificate of live birth is the foreign situs trust. It is your vessel. It is your ship you are to use to conduct business transactions in the law of the sea. Okay? Now, this is maritime law. Admiralty law, the law of the seas, right? Because a person, by definition, is the role a man plays in society. It's a rank. It's attached to it rights and duties, responsibilities. A human is a creator from the Most High God. Okay? His only right and responsibility is to his children and to the Most High, whoever that be. You know? So, with that being said, this person, your foreign certificate or situs trust, the certificate of live birth, is who you're using to conduct business in the commercial world. Because remember, everything was done, all transactions was done at the seas, upon the seas. That's why the roads today look like seaways. They call them highways, right? Bunch of vessels just flowing, doing commerce, shipping goods, providing services, you know, with passengers and so on. This stuff is deep, you guys.
Exactly. So all for the ones who are picking up what we dropping down, laying all around. So we're talking about waters, and I know you get this. So some more water references that if they went over your head, all these refers to ships on the waters, maritime, dock, and dockets, labor, berth, naval, certificate of live birth, COLB, cable, cabal. You follow me? You follow us? Waters, womb, vessel, person, ship, maternity ward, delivery, transfer, names, registration. So as we talk about water, we're gonna take a short water break and making sure it's resonating. So we'll be right back after these frequencies. Wholeness.
I went to a hearing and the deputy with a gun, a woman with a badge, walked right up to me like she knew who I was. She had a clipboard. Do you mind if I use your book? She had a clipboard. And she had the all-cap name right there, and she had a pen, and she goes, "Is that you? Is that you?" Is that you? And I didn't want to be, you don't want to be sassy to these people because they make your life miserable in a hurry. You want to be lawful. And I looked at it and says, "Ma'am, I'm here for that person." No, that's not my question. Is that you? And the key word is. Is is math. Is equal sign. Do you equal that name? Is to be. To be is equal. Do you equal? I need you to equal. Do you equal? Because if I can reduce you to that name, we own that name, you don't. So if you're equal to that name, then we own you. Permanent attachment, we got you. So she's really getting in my face. Like, I need you to tell me, is that, ma'am, like I said, I'm here for that person. I'm here for that person. Oh, well, you can sit out in the hallway and I'll call you when we're ready. You know, I'm like, I feel like third grade teacher just punched me, you know? And the point being is that you're not worse off when you don't give them a name. When you go to the hearing, I'm like, I was doing this 8 years ago. I grant my name to the court on special deposit for future return of my interest. Someone taught me how to say that.